So when you move into a house, the first thing you do is you instruct the movers on where to put the stuff, or you know what boxes are going where. What does it look like when you move onto a boat for the first time? Hi, I'm Nika Waters, and welcome to the Boat Galley podcast. Today I'm sharing exactly that, our first afternoon on the boat and exactly the steps that we did. Today's episode of the Boat Galley podcast is sponsored by Mantis Marine, maker of the Mantis Anchor, now available in models with and without a roll bar. Proven to set reliably in the most challenging bottoms, the Mantis Anchor digs like no other, making anchoring safer and boating more enjoyable. Mantis Marine brings to market practical, durable, and affordable marine products, including anchoring gear, scuba diving accessories, and a rechargeable waterproof headlamp for hands-free lighting. Visit mantismarine.com and see for yourself. So we've lived on the boat before. This is our third time now moving on to the boat, and every time it's a little bit different. The first time it was with our dog, the second time we were moving aboard with our kids, and now it's back to just the two of us. And we moved out of our house in Charlottesville a few months before we were getting ready to move onto the boat. And in the meantime, we lived in the house in Vermont for a while, and then we were house sitting for friends just down the road from where the boat is. We moved out of that house the beginning part of April, and then we were with my mother-in-law for a couple of weeks in Texas. When we came back from Texas, though, it was moving straight onto the boat. So what exactly were our first steps to moving aboard? Like, for real, like it was going to be us just moving onto the boat, not living somewhere else, but living on the boat. Well, the first thing we did was we had to install the fridge. Our fridge looks kind of like a relatively large cooler, but it is powered by either 110 or 12 volts. It's super, super efficient. We had taken it with us to Houston because we had some stuff in it from the house that we'd been house sitting in that we didn't use up before we left, and we didn't want to throw it away. So the very first thing we needed to do was unplug it from the back of the car, schlep it up the ladder, which was a little bit challenging. And doing that, actually, we emptied the fridge out. We had brought some more stuff with us back from Houston, and we wanted to empty it out to make it a little bit lighter to move it up the ladder. Hoisted it up to the deck, took it down the companionway, and fitted it right into the spot where it belongs, underneath the chart table. And then I put all the food back into it. And yes, learning how to use that fridge is still a little bit of an exercise in efficiency and iterating how to use the space. But that very first day was putting it back in the best way that I thought would work on that first time. Our old fridge, we did have a fridge on the boat before, was much less easy to access. I had to go climbing over the back of a counter and kind of dumpster diving back into a very outboard, very aft section. And this one is quite a bit smaller, but way, way, way easier to access. So that's going to be fantastic. Definitely looking forward to using these incredible tricks that Carolyn in her book, Storing Food Without Refrigeration has. She's got a lot of really good tricks about how to layer food and how to set it up so that you can easily access the things that you want. And one of the things that we definitely had to do was to put in a bottle of bubbly, because our first night aboard was Crab Cake Friday, and we just generally like to have a bottle of bubbly with our crab cakes on Fridays. And besides, our first night aboard, you better believe we wanted to celebrate with some bubbly. Second thing that we did was we put clothes away. And there's a whole lot of stuff that isn't getting put away right now because there's cool weather items that aren't going on board quite yet. And I don't need to put those in the spaces that we have to access. But I put my clothes away, ready to move aboard. The next thing we had to do was to go to storage to get the essential galley equipment that we needed, like a pot and a baking tray, a bowl and some plates, and make sure that we have a way to make coffee in the morning and cook dinner. Then we made cocktails. And yeah, we took a walk down the boatyard to the water's edge, sipping, talking, just smiling. We're living on the boat now. And yes, the boat's still in the boatyard, But if we were in a marina, we would have just done that and sat in the cockpit. But it was still really kind of fun to just walk down and see the water. Next thing was making dinner. Eating dinner down below with music playing, toasting each other every few minutes. It was still really chilly in April when we were there. And no, we didn't have a table on the boat yet, but so what? We were down below on our boat with dinner that we had made on board. It was excellent. And while I was doing the dishes, Jeremy set up the bunk. He set up the bunk, he made the bed, and he even turned down the covers. That first day aboard was pretty magical. Yeah, it's all kinds of small little things that don't matter much, but we were doing them on the boat for the very first time, and it was amazing. I can't wait till you too have had your first move aboard day, and we're sharing an anchorage somewhere, and we're toasting each other because we've all managed to make it work. Thank you so much for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. We love hearing from our listeners. We love it when you share us with your friends, and we love it when you leave us a great review because that helps other people find us. Have the most spectacular week.